We said that this year, one of the themes that's going to be running through chapel is the Brooks value of integrity. Miss Waters kicked us off with this with her excellent chapel talk about academic integrity. And I chose to return to it today because, as we just heard, National Coming Out Day is this week. I think integrity is at the heart of coming out, both for individuals and for communities. But I had to do a little digging around the word integrity before I could explain to you all why I see this connection. Being an academic, committed to all kinds of knowledge sources, the first source of knowledge I sought was naturally you. I asked one of my amazing fifth form self and community classes to share their definitions of integrity. The class said that integrity is about being honest, about being real. One person said it's about not resorting to easy ways around what is right when you don't know an answer or you don't know what to do. I think that person was listening well to Miss Waters. Several mentioned that integrity is about having high morals and living into those at all times. Everyone agreed that honesty and truthfulness are fundamental aspects of the meaning of integrity. Fair. I also asked the class to see what popular usages of the word integrity they could find in movies, television, music, and books. Then things got kind of interesting. Our class checked country music songs and rap songs. They did quick Google searches of popular movies, TV shows, their favorite novels and movies. And I was looking right along with them. And we couldn't find hardly anything. We couldn't find the word integrity in the things that we watch and read and hear most regularly, which was really surprising to all of us. Since plenty of our other values, like peace and love, make it into the language of our music and our books, etc., the absence of the word integrity seemed kind of significant to me. As we wondered as a class why this was the case, someone suggested that integrity is more often implied than discussed. Could be true. I do think perhaps it's one of those words we think we all know and we understand and we agree on. And we all really quickly connected the idea of honesty to integrity, and that's the first definition of integrity if you look it up in Wikipedia or Webster. And there's a little room for more explanation because I think that there's a richness and texture to this meaning of integrity that goes a little bit beyond simply talking about honesty. It was tough, but the class did find a couple of examples of the word integrity that let us dig in a bit more. The first example was a student who found the word integrity in a song by Katy Perry. So the line is, "I'm a good girl because I really believe in love, integrity, and respect. I'm a bad girl because I really like to tease." With this line, Miss Perry highlights something important about integrity. If integrity is about honesty and authenticity, then teasing, which is about misrepresenting oneself, one's feelings, one's intentions, often to the point of manipulating or disregarding someone else's feelings, is indeed a violation of integrity. The Urban Dictionary says teasing is most often about misrepresenting oneself to a romantically interested person. But the fundamental issue is about authenticity. And I bet every single one of us, if we're honest with ourselves, could recognize times when we misrepresent ourselves to impress friends, colleagues, bosses, teammates, coaches, players, and teachers. Maybe we're flattering someone we want to really like us. Maybe we're taking credit for something someone else did the majority of the work on. Maybe we just want to avoid a little bit of trouble and the lie doesn't really seem that big. Or maybe we're just missing an opportunity to build someone else up. It's perfectly understandable, which is why so many of us do it. And if we are interested in being people of integrity, in building a community where we can trust each other to be who we say we are in any given moment, there's probably room for some growth. Maybe it's something Katy Perry's even working on. The other example of the word integrity, found by another very brilliant student, uses the word in what seems like a completely different way. But looking at it in this way offers us another way in to thinking about integrity. We're going to watch a short clip from an episode of The Office. One character, Jim, has just purchased a house for his fiancée, Pam, without telling her. He's describing the house here for his work colleagues. It's just about 30 seconds long, but as you watch the clip, listen for the word integrity and see when it comes up, okay?
Today is the day that I show Pam the house that I bought for us, without telling her. But it's my parents' house, the house I grew up in. And yeah, I bought it kind of impulsively. I mean, the price was good, and I was helping out my mom. It's got shag carpets. I mean, you can't blame my parents. It was the 70s. And why would you want to buy ugly wood from trees when you can have paneling? And a painting of some creepy clowns that is apparently crucial to the structural integrity of the building. She's gonna love it. Right?
Okay, did you hear it? So the creepy clown painting is crucial to the structural integrity of the house, meaning it is a part of what is keeping the house from collapsing. This is a different way to use the word integrity, but it's actually related to how most of us understand the word. The word integrity comes from the Latin word integritas, which means intact, whole. This is also where the word integer comes from, which also means whole, and y'all know that from your math classes. So integrity is about being internally and foundationally whole and intact. In the case of a house's integrity, we have a house which looks intact or whole from the outside. And then it sustains some sort of impact. An impact like an earthquake that can expose a pre-existing flaw in its structural integrity, or an impact that can create a new compromise of its structural integrity. Or it can be something that happens repeatedly, every day on a slow sort of stress. If the house didn't have enough integrity in the first place, or if the integrity breaks its, or if the impact breaks its basic integrity, the house can collapse. Its structural integrity has been compromised. Maybe somebody took the clown picture away. Who knows? When we talked about this understanding of integrity in our class, Ms. Bender, who was in there, had a totally different image that came to her mind when we were talking about this idea of structural integrity. Her image was one of a particular fence. This fence looks strong, whole, and intact. But with the stress of another kind of impact, its integrity also becomes compromised, with some fairly dire consequences. It's Jurassic Park, I don't know. I think this idea of considering integrity as being about fundamental wholeness and intactness is kind of interesting. Integrity here is an internal state of what holds us together, what gives us our internal structure. It's about whatever our internal values are and whether they remain consistent through the tests of time and stress. We often don't know whether they will hold until they're stressed or tested by some sort of sustained impact or sudden impact or crisis. Sometimes the impact is on the scale of a rampaging dinosaur or an earthquake, like the academic crises Ms. Waters talked about. Or sometimes the stress is more common, more subtle, more persistent. The daily tests of our integrity, like we just talked about, all the smaller ways that we choose to represent ourselves and interact with each other with authenticity and honesty, or not. These are the moral fences, or the moral frameworks inside of each of us, giving us shape and strength and making us authentically who we are and who we want to be. Sometimes other people can see when that integrity has been compromised. And sometimes it's just us who knows. But we feel it either way. And it makes us feel strong and solid deep inside when we hold fast to that structure. This idea of wholeness is related to the Hebrew word shalom. And I do think that there's some connection between our attending to our inner wholeness and integrity and broad shalom, or peaceful well-being. And this is where I see the connections to Coming Out Day. For many people who come out, the process is about integrity. It's about that person's own wholeness and intactness. It's about people needing to be authentic in who they are internally and who they represent themselves to be externally. And often it is necessary to prevent collapse. Now, to be clear, if someone chooses not to come out, it does not mean they lack integrity. It can mean they feel intact and whole, keeping things private. Or it can be that they doubt that their community quite has the structural integrity to hold them in the fullness of their identities. So in that, I think Coming Out Day is an invitation to individuals and to communities to work to become more and more places of integrity, of wholeness. I think we are more intact, more authentic as an entire community when all of our members can be fully themselves. And that takes trust, honesty, intentionality, imagination, and courage, not just on the parts of those persons who might choose to come out. I think we do really well here at Brooks. And I think that, like everything, there's always room to grow. Because this can be hard, scary stuff for all of us. And we'll make mistakes because we're human. And then we can choose to do better, one foot in front of the other. So in light of all this, our final hymn today is going to be This Little Light of Mine. Mr. Askew is going to lead it on guitar, along with a special performance on the saxophone by Isaac Everly. So I'm going to invite us all to sing boldly and to shine as bright as you can with all that you are here at Brooks.